In this video, we're going to look at how you can compare dates and times and also do a little bit of math with them. So if we pull up RI and look at the time class, you'll notice that it includes the comparable class, so you can compare different time objects, and you can also just do some simple math with them because you can see you got a plus and minus method also available here. So let's close this window and let's launch into IRB. Now I've created a couple of helper methods here to help with my explanation, and these are available in the working files, available with the DVD and also online. The first one is 1603, the file name, and the second one, the file name is 1603-B. Now this file contains a method call that's named seconds, and it accepts the parameters of days, hours, minutes, seconds, and returns the number of seconds total. So you can essentially give it, number of days or whatever, hours, minutes, seconds, and it'll return the number of seconds equaling whatever you've put in here. Now you'll notice that I've put in this equals 0 after the hours, minutes, and seconds, and we haven't probably seen this before in defining a method in Ruby, but what this allows me to do is set default values for these particular parameters. So what I can do is actually call this method using just one or any one of these. Now days is going to have to be supplied. Either you're going to put a number in there or you'll put 0 if you just want to do hours or minutes or seconds. And you can do all of these, one of them, some of them, whatever combination you like, because what it's going to do is calculate down here. It's going to take the number of days, multiply it times 86,400 because that's the number of seconds in a day. For hours, it'll multiply it times 3,600. For minutes, times 60, and it'll just tack on the seconds. So we'll use this to play around a little bit with comparing some dates. Now the second method is longer, but it's actually a little bit simpler. All it does is take the number of milliseconds, which is what normally the time is represented in, and convert it into seconds, minutes, days, hours, and days. And that's just something so we can take a look at it, so it's human printable. We really wouldn't want to do anything beyond that. Don't be using it to keep your time. It's just kind of a printout type of thing. So let's compare some dates. First off, let's get a current time. So we'll do time.now. So there's our current time right now. And then let's say the new century we're going to compare it to. So I'm going to call make time, and that was 2000. And I know some of you people might say, no, it was 2001. We'll just use 2000 for a date. So that's midnight, January 1, the year 2000. So first thing, if we just type in now minus the new century, we get this number here, which is, if we look at that, let me go ahead and assign this, and I'll call it diff. If we call it diff, we're going to see that it's a float. So you just have a number here that's a float number, and that's essentially in the number of milliseconds since 1970, essentially, how the time works. So if we want to show this as what this difference between these dates really is, we want to use this method here. So I'm just going to copy it because it's a pretty big thing to type out, and then I'll call it with diff. First I got to load that file. Okay, now we can call it. So that tells us the difference between today, when I recorded this, and January 1, year 2000 is 2,734 days, 13 hours, 16 minutes, 28 seconds. So that's comparing two dates. We can see the difference there. Now, we can also do some math with dates. So if I say now plus, well, let's try 1 and see what we get. It's just essentially 1 second later than it is right now. Whatever, when now was called, which is actually a little bit ago. If we do now and say 60, well, let's do 3,600, which is, that's an hour. So that's an hour from now. So when you want to do math, and you can also do subtraction, so we can subtract here. So that's an hour before now, which, if you remember, now we did was, it was actually a few minutes ago by now, but that's how you can do some simple math. Now, this is where our second method comes in. Here is if we want to take a look and say, well, I want to actually find out how much time that really, if I want to do it with days. In other words, I don't want to have to convert this to seconds first. I want to just say days. So if I say now plus seconds, I got to load that other file too. Okay, so now plus seconds 7. That's 7 days from now, and that'll be July 4th. And here's where it's really cool. If I can add 10 to that, that's 10 hours. So you'll see that's now July 5th because it's 10 hours after that. So that's how that seconds method works with the defaults in there. And I could actually put in here, put a 0 in there, and you'll see that's essentially midnight tonight or early tomorrow morning. So that's a little bit of comparing dates and times and doing math with dates and times.